Sometimes the world looks perfect, nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change. No matter what the odds are this time, nothing's gonna stand in my way. This flame in my heart is like a long lost friend, gives every dark street a light at the end. Standing tall on the wings of my dream, rise and fall on the wings of my dream. Through the rain and thunder, the wind and haze, I'm bound for better days. My life, my dream, nothing gonna stop me now. My life, my dream, nothing gonna stop me now. Nothing gonna stop me now.
All right, we are live.
We are live. All right.
Live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Perfect Bloggers. Week 8. Amazing. We have made it 8 episodes into this highly experimental situation that we find ourselves in here. I'm not sure.
That is an understatement.
Yes, and yeah, here we go. Swapping the headphones. You're getting very quick, though, I have to
Yes,
say.
I've gotten
I feel
used
like
to the,
every episode, there's progress.
There's progress, and although I've reduced the microphone, there used to be 2 backup microphones. There was the shotgun and then the VO voiceover microphone.
We had at one point, what did we count? 9 microphones?
9.
Or am I embellishing?
No, well, right now there's 3 shotguns, 2 lavaliers, and a voiceover. So what is
Just in
that?
case.
Well, yes.
Just in
yes.
case,
Well, I've been burned in the past.
Oh.
I've actually. There was one time when
Sorry.
the camera. I didn't have any backups,
Oh,
and the camera audio decided to crap out, and I got. Luckily it got fixed. But after that experience, I was really careful. But it looks cool too, right? It looks all fancy. All these little blinking
does.
lights.
Very cool,
although
I
it's a
would
little
say.
intimidating, when
It's-
you look up and you realize, oh my, there's 2 there.
It's like that William Shatner, the second Airplane movie with William Shatner
haven't
when he
seen
was
the
now.
Airplane.
Is anyone a
No.
Trekkie? No, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. Well, I gotta explain it. Maybe for the people that are listening, there's probably some funny thing. Really quick. So there's that scene in the second scene of Airplane 2 where they're like William Shatner. He's playing off his Captain Kirk role, and he's like, "What do all these? Have you figured out what all these blinking lights do?" And he's like, "No, yes, sir. They blink in this particular order, sir. Good, excellent, or whatever." It's funnier when you watch it. But anyways,
have to check that out.
All right, so
Yeah.
we'll put that on the list. Airplane 2, you said.
Airplane 2 with William Shatner.
Even
yes.
more Airplane. What was
Yes.
the title of that one?
Airplane, I don't know. They go to the moon. They, it's,
All right. Well,
that note.
on that note, this is where it's so difficult to make a smooth transition. One of these days, I'll figure out how to segue back into what we're talking about here, what we're trying to do.
Yes,
So
I'm sorry. I did not mean to.
that's all right. Thank you. We learned something, I think, in the
did.
process. Very happy to have another special guest in the studio here today, Kristen Campbell. We don't think there's a relationship. There may be long-lost
be.
cousins.
Yeah,
we don't know.
I don't know,
know.
but it is. It's kind of weird meeting another Campbell. Although there's
Sorry.
no. It's not a bad experience at all. It's maybe Scotland. I don't know, or something
could
like
be.
that.
We worked
I went to
together.
Scotland too. Actually,
Oh, okay.
I got to see my castle because
Really?
the Campbell clan.
Yes, absolutely.
It's quite
Are
interesting.
you familiar with this?
I am. I'm still trying to find the link to the Campbell Soup Company myself personally.
Well,
I
you know,
figure
that's-
somewhere.
Well, that's the joke. I
Yeah.
always say, so like, how do you spell your name? Campbell, like the soup.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then most people know
They're
that.
like, oh, there you go.
Yeah, but
Some
there's
people
a-
don't know how to spell it still. So
Yeah, I know. They
Depends.
say like Campbell or
Yeah.
something like that. Anyways, we're getting off track.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
All right, so again, just trying to rein it back in here. You, Kristen, have a blog,
I do.
which is very fortuitous considering this is Intro to Blogging,
Okay.
and that's what we want to try to
Yeah.
talk about. And your blog is called The Road to Domestication, Road to Domestication. No, I'm sorry, The Road to Domestication.com.
Yes.
And you've been doing this for a while. This is something I wanted to clarify, actually,
Yeah.
because I was trying to go through the archives, and I found posts that went back to 2013. But then I discovered that officially you started this endeavor in 2011.
I did.
So perhaps I just missed it, and there were some posts, or was there a lull in between?
There was, well, I started on Blogger.
Ah, okay.
And then I moved over to WordPress. And once I moved to WordPress, I saw for myself personally, I never should have messed with Blogger, and I should have been on WordPress. So I kind of just vacated Blogger entirely. So yes, I'm a WordPress, maybe not fanatic, but definitely proponent of WordPress.
Okay.
So yeah,
Excellent.
that's
And-
where that comes in.
Okay, good. And we are using WordPress here in the class,
Okay,
so that's
great.
I'm going to add that to my list of topics that I want to cover with you, because I'm just so excited because you're doing so many things that I know our students are aspiring toward. And it's so great to have you here so we can get a little bit of a behind the scenes understanding of how you've put this together. And Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
could we switch to my screen for just a moment, because
Okay.
I want to make sure everybody has a chance to see.
There it is.
To see the blog.
There
it
it
is.
is.
Let's go full screen here. Go big or go home. There we go. All the way up. Now, so here it is, The Road to Domesticate. Now, I did also need to just make a note, and maybe it's just me, but it does seem like there's a lot of green on the site.
Doesn't it?
Is
Yeah.
that intention? Is that so? We've talked a little bit about branding
Right.
in the course, and how
Yeah.
part of branding, of course, is a visual side to it, and thinking about color schemes and whatnot. So, is that intentional, or it just so happens there's a lot of green on it?
It was well, you know, that's a good question, I guess. And it originally was intentional, only because those were the colors that we used for our wedding, was the navy and the green and the white. And so that was just the color scheme that came to my mind at that time. So I was trying to match it, just being, I don't know. So that, you know, no one's ever asked me that before, but that just kind of is how it came together. And I have looked at redoing colors and things like that, and I just haven't found another something that kind of works for me right now. So I'm sure it may not stay like that forever, but yeah.
Now, lest anyone watching thinks I may be exaggerating, let me just illustrate. So, if we scroll down the page here just a little bit, now
Yes.
your husband is wearing a lovely green shirt.
Yes. So again, wedding colors. That was a
Okay.
picture from one of our wedding events.
Okay.
So yeah. I don't know. Maybe I was subconsciously trying to match everything. I do love some good color coordination. So
Yes, yes.
Perhaps, but
And now, this is a little of an aside, but I also wanted to ask you about this swing, because
okay.
this is a really cool swing.
It is.
Is this in your backyard? or
It
this
is not.
No, okay.
No, this is at a place in Plant City where we live, where we had a big party for our wedding. And so, yeah, they have this really cool, they have a whole garden type area with lots of this types of furniture in it, you know. So keywords there are Plant City. And so that's the kind of fun rustic thing that you may find there.
And all joking aside, one of the things that really struck me as I was reading through your blog and soaking up the posts is, it seems to me you really do take a personal approach to this project. You're
Absolutely.
putting your life here, you're putting it on display,
Yeah.
and this is you.
Yeah.
Everything about this is Kristen, as far as I can tell.
Yep.
And that's got to be a big part of the strategy that you've
Yeah.
taken with this project. Did you know from the beginning that if you're going to blog, it's going to be about what I care about, what I'm passionate about,
Yes.
and I'm going to put myself into it?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, that was one of the reasons why I started blogging. I was working in journalism. I was a magazine editor. I was doing 80-hour work weeks for a couple years, and it was just a lot. And so I kind of backed out of that and just started doing just a regular office administrative job, but I missed the creativity and I missed the outlet. And my husband said, you should start a blog. And I was like, doesn't everyone have a blog? You know, who's going to read my blog, you know? And he said, well, is it about who reads it? And I said, well, yeah, kind of it is, you know, because why would I do it if not? And, but yeah, I said, well, if I'm going to do it, then it is going to be me, you know. It could be a lot of different things, but I think it would need to be personal. And, you know, I don't put things like, you know, you won't find anyone's social security numbers on here. You will not find the full names of our children. You won't find anything like that. But it is. And people who know me and read it say, you know, it's just like I'm sitting here talking to you, having conversation. Mm-hmm. And that's the goal. Mm-hmm. That's my goal out of it. So.
One of the ideas that we've talked about here in the course is that if you're going to start a blog and you're creating something that has value for readers, there's really two core ingredients. Mm-hmm. It's your content and it's you. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes blogging, I think, unique as a communication platform. Yeah. There's other ways you can do one of the two things, but pumping out quality content consistently and really putting a personal signature on it seems to be a little unique, mm-hmm. if something can be a little unique mm-hmm. to this particular platform.
Yeah.
So now let's just keep scrolling a little bit because...
You're looking for more green?
Well, we'll find it. It's there, believe me.
That's that.
Continue. Continue. It's green.
No, wait, I take it back. It's not here. I was looking for... You have the most adorable cat. I mean,
she certainly thinks so.
Coco. Now, your dog is also adorable, but the cat is something. Now,
where's the cat?
Never mind.
Yeah.
We'll
is the cat in the photo? Where's the cat?
About Us, I
About
believe.
Us.
Is that not where I'm at? Not where we are?
About.
We're on. Because there's if you scroll down a little bit, if you want to meet the rest of the family.
Here we go.
There.
Here,
that's
yes.
perhaps what you're talking about.
That must have been where I.
There we go. And then she's probably there. There she is.
There we go. Yes. And the one that I really liked was, this is here. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah,
so
she is pretty cute, isn't she?
We're so
what happened
okay, good. I just wanted to make sure we.
Well, what happened to the yellow
eyes? I like to give our
eyes?
viewers a little bit of everything, and
Did she have yellow eyes as a baby?
No, when we rescued her, and she had blue eyes. They're very dark blue when she was little like this. So now they're yellow, but when she was little, they were very, very dark blue. Very odd, but.
She's very cute.
Yeah, she is.
Everyone
kind of
likes a little
I'm
kitty
feeling bad because we do have
kitten
the dog.
photo.
Oh yeah, the poor dog. There she is.
Oh my God.
And now this,
Who's
that?
Very cute.
Yes.
It must be stated.
Yes, also rescued. You know, we're
Yeah.
big proponents of rescuing animals at our house. So
Now, I didn't notice it, but do you have some posts specifically about your cat and your dog?
not so much about the cat. The cat appears in the posts sometimes because she just appears.
Okay.
She's interested in the camera, and so that's when she appears, and I'll kind of include her. The dog, yes, there are some specific posts regarding the dog with the various companies who do things like organic dog food and things like that, who I work with to do blog posts about. So she is featured. She is featured in those, and she loves when a box comes from a dog food company or something.
Yeah.
She's like, okay.
Yeah.
Break out the goods.
Yes, I can tell. She likes the attention.
Yeah.
She's happy to be a part of it.
Very much.
So I think you already actually answered one of my big questions, which was how in the world do you have time and energy to do this? Because you have a full-time job and you have a...
Yeah, actually, I don't have a full-time job.
Oh, you don't?
Right now. I don't have a full-time job since the twins were born. So let's see. Just for a couple of months have I not had a full-time job now.
Okay.
So that's fairly recent.
Okay.
So I guess your question is still pertinent at the time.
Because you have the twins,
Yes.
the job. This is clearly an immense amount of work that you put into making this happen.
It is.
So how do you do it? How do you make that all work?
I don't sleep a lot. I'm one of those. I'm one of those people who doesn't really need a whole lot of sleep to function, anyways. But I don't know, when you're excited about something and you enjoy doing something, and when you're sitting, down to watch something on TV in prime time or something, and something sparks an idea in your mind, and you're like, oh, that would be a good blog post. And, I'm like, pause this, and I go get my laptop, and then I just start working on it, It has kind of taken over my life, or taken over seasons of my life, we'll say. And so I always have, just a running note with an idea that I get, or I have voice memos of things like that. So, so some posts have been, months, maybe a year in the making, just because I just keep thinking of things and adding. And some are just quick little things. But some do take a bit of time to compose and put together. So it just depends. Yeah.
And tell us a little more about your editorial process. One question I'm curious about is how frequently do you post on average?
On an average week, I post 3 times a week.
Okay.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, normally.
So you have a set schedule. And how far in advance do you have posts planned out? So we know some people, the day before they get the idea, and then in other cases there's a queue, and bloggers seem to know a month in advance what's going to be going up on that day.
And I'm one of those.
Okay.
I can tell you, mainly because a lot of things that I do, domestic type things, fall around holiday time. Like right now there's a lot of Thanksgiving type and fall type things that I actually haven't quite started to hit quite yet. So that'll be really next week. A whole queue of things are going to start coming up, different fall decorations and things like that. But so I start with that. I go around the holidays, and I know around Christmas that I will have things that I participate in with other bloggers. Things like recipe share contests and different things like that. So I plan around those first, and then I fill things in. A lot of what I do is seasonal, so I'm not going to, in the middle of summer, as we were chatting about, do a post on, the things you need to do to make sure that your furnace is working properly, because I don't need that. In the middle of summer, I would be doing things about great ways to keep your kids busy while they're off of school, that kind of a thing. So that's kind of how I built my.
Although I was just thinking, we were also talking that you have a sizable audience in Australia.
Yes.
So maybe actually in the summertime you still could talk about the,
yeah, I guess I could. Yeah, I very well could. So.
Do you notice that you have spikes in traffic around holiday season and special occasions?
Yeah, I have spikes in traffic around holiday season. I have spikes in traffic when I post a different kind of recipe as well. My most visited post of all time is biscuit and gravy casserole.
Okay.
And so, which, in the South, if you're born and raised in the South like I am, biscuits and gravy, biscuits and gravy. But you put that into a casserole and people are like, wait, what is this? And still to this day, that post was back in, goodness, it's I think it was 2013, I believe, and it's still the most viewed.
Wow.
Out of everything.
And people are still discovering this concept.
They are.
Yes.
They are.
This is evergreen content. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The definition. Yeah.
Let's get that recipe out again.
Yeah. So that's been kind of interesting. So.
And we also talked briefly earlier about how under this umbrella of domestic life, there are so many different subtopics, and you explore a lot of them on the blog. So you have a whole recipes section where it's in the kitchen and cooking. You have cleaning tips, the pets, family life, so many different topics that, from what I've observed, in some cases, you have an entire blog just about that, with lots of food blogs that are all about recipes. There are blogs that are just about keeping a house clean and those kind of tips. So what do you see as the pros and cons of the approach that you've taken, which is a little bit broader in style?
Well, we'll start with cons, I guess, and knock that out. It is overwhelming sometimes because there's multiple things. Maybe there's something on home organization that I'm working on, but yet there's something on decor. I'm redecorating something that I'm trying to do, and then at the same time there's a new recipe that I'm trying to perfect. So then, you know, I'm like, oh, I don't, you know, which one, whereas they all technically fit my blog, they could be, like you said, on completely different blogs. And so it's kind of, and sometimes, but the pros is that sometimes things like that helps me to narrow down, okay, you know what, I think this month I'm just going to focus in on this. And maybe this month I'm just going to do recipes because, you know, we're coming up for the holidays and things like that. So, so yeah, cons, it can be very overwhelming. But pros is sometimes it helps you to decide where you want your focus to be more so. And I've eliminated topics after, you know, being overwhelmed by things too and thinking, maybe this is just not so much me anymore. So I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it does. Could you give us an example of a bygone topic that no longer is on the blog?
Well, I was doing a little bit of travel
Okay.
topics because I thought, you know, well, family, you know, you plan your vacations a lot of times from home. You know, some people use a travel agent, but most people are just on, like, you know, Hotwire or, you know, Kayak or something. You know, I'm not being paid to say those companies. Those are just the ones that come to mind. But, and so I was doing a little bit of travel posts, and then I was just like, you know, and travel is another passion of mine. But I felt like it was just kind of taking me out of my wheelhouse a bit. So I was like, you know, yes, I love to write about things that I love and that I'm passionate about, but I don't think that this is really one. I think this is one that could kind of take over, and I don't necessarily want that. So I just kind of eliminated that one. Nothing wrong with travel, but just not for me.
Yeah, yeah, and it seems like it's very important for you to always be asking yourself and making sure, is this part of this brand
Right.
that I'm building?
Absolutely.
And that's a topic we definitely want to get a little bit more into, that branding and building the brand side of things. And so many different things, actually, I want to talk about. Let me confer with my notes here for just a moment. Before we move too far from this issue of these different verticals that you have on the site, do you have a sense of whether you have some readers who are coming for the recipes and some people who are coming for the other content, or do you think that people just, what's the latest thing? I want to know. Oh, it's a new home improvement project. Let me check it out.
Yeah, and it's my particular audience is very well-rounded in that I do have a lot of people who don't care about much unless it's a recipe. They're the ones that found the biscuit and gravy casserole and they're like, what else is she going to put up, you know? And that's great and that's fine. And then I do have a lot of ones who really like the home organization things. And so a lot of, and those are different. And so, yeah, and then there are some, and most of the time the ones who read everything and love everything are like my mom. No, my mom. but the people who have somehow captured my voice throughout these posts, and they, you know, just as you would once you're getting to know a friend or something, you're like, I could hang with this person, you know. It's just as simple for someone to do that with a blogger through the computer, you know. And so once you can hear that voice or read that voice and are familiar with them, then you just kind of want to see what they're up to, you know. So.
And how would you describe your voice?
Well, I try to be pretty casual, because I've had several people tell me that when they read the blog, they feel like they're just sitting and conversing with me, and I like that. So I try to be pretty casual, but I try to be pretty pointed too. Most people who read know that I don't beat around the bush about a lot of things. I'm just like, you know, pretty. So pretty pointed, pretty casual, and I try to bring some of the craziness of everyday life into it, so it gives it a little bit of humor too, because, you know, better to laugh than cry. So yeah, I guess I would just say, you know, kind of casual and to the point, and yeah, a little bit of humor here and there. So
okay. So nowadays, you post something and you're going to get a really nice response. You know, at least 20, 30, 40 comments. Some of your posts get a lot more than that.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of engagement.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, obviously people are reading this and they're anticipating the next thing that you're gonna write, which is amazing. And I
It is
really
kind
like
of
to
amazing.
commend you for your success.
Oh, thank you.
And you've been doing it since 2011. So can you talk a little bit about the growth of the blog in terms of readership and
Yeah.
audience response? And has it been a slow and steady climb? How would you characterize the point you've gotten to now in terms of readership?
Yeah, I guess I would say a slow and steady climb. And really, consistency is a big key to that. I think, right now I post Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. I started out and I was posting every day. And I kind of got a little tired posting every day, and I started, as I engage with the blogging community, and I have, my particular bloggers that I follow and things, and I was realizing, well, they're not posting every day. I don't need to do this every day. And so it's kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit, but there's always been some kind of a consistency with it. So I think that, let's see, what is it, 2017? So, 6 years. I think that consistency has been key in the building of the readership because they know that I'm coming back. But also engaging in the blogging community is another key to it as well. So when people see that you're participating in I do a linky party, a link up party, basically where people can come and they can add their links of what they've been working on around their home. And it turns into kind of like this online magazine of all the different things people are working on. And so people can scroll through and see a whole bunch of fun projects all at the same time. So when you participate in things like that too, then the blogging community is like, hey, this person is approachable and they're working with everyone. And we kind of like that, and we want to engage in that too. So I'm not really sure how all that exactly works together to build the readership, but somehow between the consistency and the interaction, it just kind of does. So that's not a very specific, helpful answer, but
I beg to differ.
Okay.
I think it is quite helpful and specific. But I am curious about these. You said they're called linky parties.
I call them linky parties. I think the technical term is a link up.
Okay. And how exactly? So this is like a virtual meeting time.
Yeah.
Well, it's a real meeting time,
Yeah.
but it's a virtual space. And what happens exactly?
And so we put it up. It's ours is called, and there's a variety of these different kinds of parties. So ours is called the Home Matters Party. I do it with another blogger who's actually out of California, so we put it up on Friday mornings, Friday at midnight. Basically, it goes live at 12 a.m. And so we share the things we've been working on in the past week, and then we say, okay, come down and link up with us. So people can click the link up button, add the link to their blog post, and it kind of puts it up in a whole little category.
Okay.
So then they go and they share and they say, hey, I linked up over here, check it out. Other people come and look and they say, oh, I'll add this, or oh, let me go look at this. And so it's a great tool for exposure for blogs. And there's all kinds of, ours is mostly just, domestic type things, recipes and home decor and that kind of thing. But there's all kinds. There are some that are more for news blogs and things like that. People are talking about news and current happenings, and people can link those things up and stuff, and just all kinds of them, which is great.
So this is a page that lives on your site, on your blog, or
It's a new post that goes live. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a new post every week, every Friday.
Okay. All right.
And it's on my site for as long as my site is there.
Another tip that we sometimes see in terms of interacting and engaging with the community is to leave comments on other blogs. Is that something that you've done at all as part of a promotional strategy?
Absolutely. And so I leave comments. I have, because I'm because I'm anal, as my husband says. I'm very type A personality. So I'm organized probably to a fault at some point, but I have 5 blogs that I visit each day. 5 different blogs every day throughout the week. So on Monday I have 5, on Tuesday I have another 5. And these are blogs that I follow of people who I aspire to reach the level that they've reached.
Okay.
So I comment on those. And as a result of that, I have seen some of those bloggers come over to my blog and return a comment. Because when you comment on someone's blog, your blog will go along with your comment, things like that. So yes, it's absolutely a great promotion. And in the blogging community, if I come across something on Pinterest, for instance, a lot of people link a blog to Pinterest, and a post that I like, and I go over and I check it out, I like to stop and leave them a comment, because that helps them and it helps me too. And it's, again, it's just good to let people know that you're approachable and a friendly member of the blogging community.
And it also keeps you plugged into what's happening on
Yes.
these other blogs. What kind of what are they writing about? How are they doing it?
Yeah.
So you stay kind of engaged with
Yeah.
that broader
Yeah,
community.
it's true.
Yeah. Are there other things that you would recommend the students thinking about in terms of promotional efforts, either other kinds of interactions or engagements, or anything else that they should be doing to try to build up awareness of their blog?
Well, social media is huge. Social media, and that's different for everyone. Some people, I find that Pinterest is a huge promoter of my blog for me, and I have a variety of social medias, but Pinterest is a big one for me. Some people, Twitter is their go-to, and that's a big one for them. Also, if you look on Facebook, there's a lot of groups on Facebook that bloggers have come together, and they've created, for instance, a Twitter group where everyone kind of links up their tweets, and everyone goes through and will retweet. We all just kind of retweet and share and things like that to kind of help each other out. So that's also a great tool. And again, you make good friends in the blogging community. And then when you go through and you're working on a special project, you remember and you think, hey, I wonder if they'd like to collaborate. And yeah, I have blogging friends all over the United States, and a couple overseas as well, that we all work on different things together. And it's been a great way to make new friends too, I didn't start it to make friends necessarily, not that I'm unfriendly, but I just didn't think about that aspect of it. And so yeah, to build the interaction, and that just helps promote the blog. So.
And you were talking about every day cycling through different blogs that you consider to be aspirational.
Right.
And what do you feel like is the gap between where you're at now and where you could like to be, or where these other bloggers are?
Well, I think it probably depends on a variety of factors. Some, I feel they look more professional than mine, so then I have ideas about revamping how things look, maybe not so much green, and things like that.
Don't get rid of the green.
I don't know, and so, because sometimes I'll see something else and I'll think, wow, I love how that design is. Maybe I should do something like that, So anything from that all the way down to how in the world did they think to do that? That is a brilliant idea. Why can I not be more brilliant? And I don't know how to fix that necessarily. So there may be things that I never get to in my aspirations, but that's kind of the fun of it,
Yeah.
If you get it exactly how you want it right off the bat, then what's the point?
What's the fun of that?
Exactly.
Yeah, you need something
Exactly.
to strive for. So there's that inspirational element.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your writing process. How would you describe how you go from an idea that you've jotted down in notes to a published post?
Well, I think a lot of that really still comes from my journalism degree. And so a lot of things start out sounding very newsy, very journalistic to me, and a lot of times I back away and I'm like, that sounds very staunch Kristen, you just kind of need to lighten that up a little bit. So normally I start with the idea. I end up putting something that's more of like kind of an outline together, just my bullet point thoughts on it. And then I start to kind of flesh out each point, and then I go back and look, and I'm like, oh, you got to liven that up just a little bit. And then I just try to make it a little bit more relaxed from there. And then once the text and everything is there, if I have photos, then going ahead and incorporating those in. If I don't, and I need to get them from stock somewhere, and incorporating those. Checking through all my SEO and making sure that everything is keywords and all that good stuff as it should be, and then previewing it about 48 times just to make sure that I haven't missed anything. And then I normally will schedule a post to go live sometime the next day, so that if I think about something, I don't have to drop everything and go fix it. I'm like, it gives me a little bit of time to think of anything I might have missed or something like that.
So you put it in the queue.
Yeah.
Give yourself a little time in case you want to make a last minute tweak.
Or in case I just want to shut it down altogether.
Yes.
You never know.
Have you ever gone back in and made any substantive changes after you've posted something?
Not hugely, no.
Yeah,
it's just
fix a typo.
It's just my nature to.
Yeah.
I have done things, like for instance, if I have a post scheduled to go live on, organic dog food, and then something terrible happens overnight, that everyone is focused on, such as, the shooting in Vegas or something like that. Obviously, one of my first thoughts is I do not want an organic dog food post to go live because it just takes away, and it doesn't help the organic dog food company either, and so it's things like that too that I try to keep an eye on and watch and make sure that I don't do anything that's I guess kind of irreverent to world news and things like that too. So.
Yeah. And that's something that even big brands and big companies struggle with, because there's so much to stay on top of. So we automate social media, and then if we're not careful, something goes out and it comes across as completely tone deaf.
Absolutely.
And I imagine particularly actually as essentially a one-person shop, and it's your brand, maintaining that credibility with your audience is so important and so precious that you've got to be very careful to safeguard it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm realizing I'm completely monopolizing your time, and we have another Campbell in the room. And sir, do you have any questions that you wanted to?
Oh yeah,
He's pretty quiet over there.
Yeah. No, I did, well, I didn't want to monopolize anything, but I do have some technical questions about.
Okay.
Well, first of all, what theme do you use? How did you come about finding the theme? How did you choose the theme? Simply because I will be creating my own blog for next semester.
Okay.
And I'm realizing, so I'm really just curious about, how you pick so what theme is your theme, first of all?
I don't know the name of it. You would ask me that question.
We'll find out. Let's find out together.
So there is a way to do this, right? Is it the view source?
Yeah. So we can,
okay. So it's a free WordPress.
Yeah. So you're using WordPress.com, right?
Yeah.
Not .org. Okay.
I think it's like Mountain
and
something.
Okay, but what was that, Casey? You're looking for WP admin or?
Well, we're looking for WP-content/themes. It is Misty Lake.
Oh, Mountain. I was close. Misty
close,
Lake,
yes.
Mountain, so that's what it is.
So it's the Misty Lake theme, and if we do a quick search for that.
That should be.
Oh, that got very good 5 stars.
I got and see, do you notice the green?
So,
there is a theme of green.
I was going to guess it was the Emerald Isle theme.
no.
Okay.
So, and this is a free theme?
Yes.
Appears to be.
Yes, this one is a free theme.
So,
And I chose it because it seemed fairly simple. and fairly, you're not looking, trying to look and see, well, my word, where can I find who this blogger is? The tabs are right across the top. They're easily located. And then I like the categories on the side that you could customize. You can customize all of that too. And then I like the fact that this particular one has great space for pictures, which are kind of important for me too. And so, yeah, that's and looking at that, that's kind of just where
Okay.
I
All right.
revolved around.
Okay. And what do you experience any technical difficulties when you're doing things? Or what
no.
challenges do you experience?
I typically don't, and I have a hosting company that I work with who actually does my hosting for me, because when I start to get into the technical details, really, really technical details of the hosting and the HTML and all that kind of stuff, I myself personally start to get very overwhelmed.
Okay.
So I did some research and found a great hosting company that works with me, and they are the type of people that I can say, listen, if I go to log into my site one morning and it's down, I can be like, help, why is it down? Please fix this, and they step in and take care of
So
it.
what about so hosting companies. So I did not know that. I thought you can choose your own hosting company for WordPress.com.
Sure, absolutely.
And is it a paid? Do you have to
Yeah.
pay thing? Okay, so does that determine how much space you have to upload, or how much space, how much upload?
Yeah, it
things you
can.
can upload.
Yeah, it can determine, but with the hosting company I use, you pick the package that most fits your needs.
Based on
for that.
What you can do,
Right.
in terms of
Right.
how many photos you can upload, or
Exactly.
how many videos, or how much space you have, things like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's quite a variety of different. GoDaddy would host for you too,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Bluehost is
Yeah.
one, and my particular host is Black Chicken, which is
Black Chicken.
odd because I'm terrified of birds, but they're a fantastic hosting company. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay. So, are you all are you self-taught in terms of what you did, or everything?
Yeah, kind of. And that and I was telling him before we started, it's kind of different for me because when I first kind of was interested in starting this, there was not a class. There was no intro to blogging or anything like that. So I think this is great, to be able to have these kind of resources. I would have loved to have had these kind of resources. But with blogging and, with anything technological, with photography, we talked about that a little bit earlier. There's so many, when there's a technological update, there's so much to learn all the time.
Yeah.
Just when you get one thing down,
Yeah.
it changes, just when you've got the Google algorithm figured out, it flips to something different. And,
I know that feeling.
yeah.
Yes, I deal with it on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Adobe just had a huge
Yes.
bunch of huge updates for all the Adobe software. And, so I use all the Adobe software for all the editing and, everything in live photography, because I do a little bit of everything. So, yeah, it's always it's always learning. You're always learning something new. It never ends. It's always a learning process.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of it, I'm not sure if it's more self-taught or if it's just banging my head up against the wall, until I can finally figure something out, but it helps to have people, like the hosting company or people who have been blogging for longer than I have, that I can go to with a question and be like, hey, if I wanted to do this, how would I do that, or
Well, interesting. Casey is actually a programming genius. He knows. He's very.
Who, me?
Yes.
Which case are you talking about?
So actually, he actually is a programmer too. So if you have
Okay.
any technical questions,
okay.
you might as well ask right now, because he knows
Yeah.
he knows how to literally do everything.
Yeah,
when it
that's
comes to
great.
Programming.
Yeah, I don't currently have a technical question, but I will remember. Normally my technical
free to reach
questions,
out anytime.
yeah, they happen at 2 a.m, and I'm like, how I do this? And sometimes Google is your friend with those things, and sometimes it's just not.
Yeah, no,
So it
it's
just
that's
depends.
true. It's yeah, and I totally agree. It's nice to have, because I'm all self-taught also.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said you're terrified of birds. My undergrad degree was environmental studies.
Oh.
And I actually was interested in bird behavior, so I actually studied birds.
Yeah, we can't be
As a
related at
scientist.
all then.
And then so, why are you afraid of birds? They're so. nice.
I don't like them. I don't like the way they look at you. They cock their heads and look at you with their like this and their beaks and their claws and I don't like the sound of their wings flapping, and I just
Oh, okay, all right.
I just don't.
Well, that's okay. You
I don't have a
that's
childhood
perfectly
experience
okay.
to point to. I
That's
just
perfectly okay.
Ugh.
I can, For a long time, I was terrified of spiders
yeah.
because I had a very scary experience as a child with a spider.
okay.
Actually,
Well,
So-
see, you have something to point to. I have nothing.
Well, no, we all. It's
But if I walk out of this building tonight and there's a bird flying around, you might hear me in here.
well, it's interesting because my father lives in Australia,
Right.
And in Australia, they have these big magpies, which
Yeah.
are basically like mockingbirds here, but they're these big magpies. They're about like that. And so, just like mockingbirds here, mockingbirds will have their nests, right? And if you walk by a tree where their nest is, they're defending their nests. So they'll kind of
Right.
like the mockingbirds will dive bomb. They're
Yes,
gonna,
they will.
and in Australia,
dangerous.
they're twice as big. And so he says that you're walking along, and if you go by one of their nests, they'll like literally dive bomb you to get away from my nest.
So when I have nightmares tonight of magpies dive bombing,
Oh boy! Yeah. But that between that and the kangaroos that are
Yes.
There are kangaroos
take you
too.
out.
They're on the golf courses. They just hop
On the
around
golf
on the golf
courses,
courses.
yes.
It's quite strange.
Wow.
Very nice place though. Highly recommend going actually,
Yes.
if you can.
Perhaps this is a reason why I don't write about travel things anymore. Australia is beautiful. I do have quite a few readers in Australia for some reason.
and they are all loved
They
and appreciated.
they are loved and appreciated, and I just hope that I'm providing them enough entertainment. So,
Now, one of the games that we
Yes.
like to play here, it's a very fun game.
oh dear.
We compare the original theme to the site itself, and in fact, if we look at Misty Lake,
Oh, okay. I
your,
see.
your theme here.
Oh, let me cut to the okay.
Yeah.
That looks vaguely like what you're
Vaguely.
running, but clearly you have done some
Yeah,
customization.
there's been a lot of
Yeah.
customization
And
going
first
on.
and foremost, the cartoon, Kristen, must be noted. Look at that. That's a very. Now, what's the story behind that? Did you have that? Did you do it, or did you have it?
I did
commissioned?
that.
Ah, very nice.
I did that, and I often question actually having someone else do it for me. When I look at it, just because I always think everything could be better, so I'm like, oh, but yeah, I did that, and the broom, just the cleaning aspect of things, and I do the photography,
Yeah.
the camera, and then recipes and things like that. The bunting, that is a bunting, is what that is. The little banner that goes. I had to
Bunting?
I didn't know
What's
that.
that?
It's called a bunting. I had to
Okay.
inform my husband the bunting,
Wait,
and he
you
was
mean
like,
is the name of the flag? What the flag is
yeah,
called?
the banner. It's called a bunting, actually.
Wait, is that you mean in a WordPress or is it just a?
No, it's what it's called. Like if you're
I thought it was like a
decorating
widget,
for
a type of
something-
widget or
not a
something
widget.
like that.
No, it's
Oh, okay.
it's a type of home decor or party decor item. It's a bunting.
Well, speaking of bunting, there's a bird called a bunting.
Is it?
Actually, it's a songbird.
He's not going to let the
I
bird
did
go.
not.
There's
Apparently
a
not.
songbird that's called a bunting.
In case you were planning to dream about anything else
Yeah,
tonight, no, it's going to
No,
be.
they're
I'll
little, cute little
say-
songbirds. They're
You
completely
want
harmless.
to talk about Twitter next and tweeting and
Tweeting and Twitter, yeah. So I see that you have all your links to your different social media sites
Yes.
on the. That's one thing I like about your site is it's very easy to read and well organized.
Great,
It's
I'm
not
glad you
cluttered
think
or
that.
anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just very, I mean, the green is actually not. I think it works. Because it's not overpowering because it's
Yeah.
like color theory. One important thing about color theory is that it adds some color, but the green does not distract the viewer from the primary text and the blogs themselves.
oh,
posts.
good. I'm glad to hear that. I always like to have
It's-
fresh eyes.
Yeah, well, no,
Look
it's
at it.
like
Oh, more green. I didn't.
No, but you see, it's not a super saturated green
It's
or a
so
super bright
funny.
green. It goes well. Now,
Oh, my goodness.
now then a little bit of red. So we've got some green, red, some color contrast. Yeah, I mean, it's actually
There's the Linky part.
quite nice.
Yes, that Lorelai and I do.
Because, it's not like that horrid green on red text on a black background or something like that.
No,
No, there's
it's
nothing
not quite
offensive
Christmas.
about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Nothing offensive. Right.
That's a whole nother topic, how to not offend anyone in the blogging and social media world. That's something else.
Well, that's interesting. Do you get a lot of, how do you deal with like hate, bad comments or people? Because, the previous guest last week was talking about how he has to deal with, because, the comments
Yeah.
on the internet can be pretty brutal sometimes because people are anonymous. So you can, people say some pretty nasty things sometimes.
Yeah, and they can. There's always the delete. No. I have received very, very few negative comments. And I think that that's probably just because of my subject matter. I'm talking about cooking and home organization and things. I have received maybe some frustration over different ingredients as comments, things like, why would you put this and this together when this, but I haven't received anything truly negative. I don't think. Yeah, I think that's just because of the subject matter. It's not because everything is so perfect and I'm doing everything so right that no one has a problem with it. I think it's just more the subject matter.
Well, because that's interesting. Because I follow a lot of photography blogs.
Yeah.
Or and some of the photography blogs can be extremely mean and brutal.
Absolutely.
And just horrible.
Yeah.
It's these things that you would never actually say
Right.
to someone in real life.
Yeah. Well, that's a huge aspect of the blogging community because you are especially if you're focusing in on something that you're very passionate about, you are opening yourself to a world where people sit behind their computer screens and they will say anything. I read a lot of news articles, just that journalism again, and some of the comments on some of these articles, you're just like, are you a real person who really thinks it's okay to talk to people like that? And so depending on what your topics are, you could really get into some really dicey things, and you could, I know some bloggers who really, it has almost made them question some of their belief systems, some of the comments that come from different things, and which is, unfortunately, it's a reality these days, but it's kind of sad too. But if you're going to put yourself out there like that, it's like, we say about celebrities. Well, they put themselves in the spotlight. They have to take what they get. But it's very similar, in the blogging atmosphere. But I really haven't gotten much of that at all. So
So you
again,
haven't changed your life beliefs or about anything based on comments or you haven't.
no, and the only comments I've ever deleted have been purely spam comments where I can clearly look at it and say this person is trying to advertise their site on mine and delete. So yeah.
Let me jump on that actually. So another prominent aspect of your site is that you do have advertising on many of the pages, and it looks like you're using maybe a few different ad networks. Could you tell us how do you approach advertising on the site, and what goes into that side of things for you?
Well, it's kind of funny because I don't do much promotion of my blog to advertising networks. They have literally come to me, and I don't have much of an explanation for that other than consistency and sheer luck and blessings from above. I don't really have much of a explanation for that. I use Google AdSense, and there are some other networks that may be better, and I just really haven't had enough time to research a lot of those. I have a couple emails in my inbox right now from a couple different networks asking if I'm interested, and I just haven't had a chance to really delve into that too deeply. A couple different things I'm an affiliate of, which is I don't have you gotten into affiliates?
No, not yet.
Affiliate links and things like that. So, at the risk of jumping ahead for you guys, basically there are people who are like Amazon affiliates. So they have special links to different products, that they publish in their blog posts. And if people click their link to that product and they purchase it, then the blogger gets kind of a kickback. So that would be an affiliate program. And I'm an affiliate of Grove Collaborative, which is an all-natural cleaning company. So that one was just kind of I did a blog post for them, and they reached out to me and just wanted to know if I was interested in being in and I said, yeah, great, let's try it. So that's been a great relationship. Jord, the wooden watches, it's kind of the same thing. Beautiful watches, and that's really the major time when I have brought my husband into the blog post, because he's a watch fanatic, and so they offered. Typically, I really wouldn't do like jewelry or something like that, because that's not really one of my niches, but they offered to send him a watch, and he was like, I would really like for you to do this post so that I can have this watch. And so we've done quite a few posts together, actually. Normally center those around a holiday type of a deal, and so they've just become one of mine. I said, hey, I'm just going to throw you guys on the sidebar and just so some of that has just been building relationships, and it's just with whoever reaches out to me. I do have some people. I had someone reach out a couple weeks ago. They wanted me to review a brand new product that they were doing. It's a portable range hood, which was very interesting to me. If you're cooking over a hot plate or something, it's a portable range hood that you can move anywhere, exhaust fan type of deal. And I was like, that sounds like it would be a lot of fun. So they're in product production right now.
Okay.
So there are some things that I can't do yet. There are some people that reach out to me to review crazy things, like they want to send me a mattress. And I'm like, okay, do I have to pay shipping for that? I mean, and so I'm just like, I just really don't feel that I need to review a mattress right now. So, it's been very interesting, the different kind of reach outs that I've had, and sometimes it's been from another blogger who they've reached out to and they said, you know what, that's not my niche, but here's the email address of Kristen over at The Road to Domestication. Why don't you email her and ask her? And that's another part of the community when you're a part of the blogging community, a productive part of the blogging community, and people see that you're working and you're friendly and you're approachable, and they think of you when things like that come across. So, but as far as offering myself to any of the networks specifically, I really haven't.
Would you say that it's...
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Just wanted to give a 2-minute warning.
Oh, my goodness.
That was quick.
That was a fast hour.
Yes.
As
Time
far as
flies
hours
by
go.
when you're having fun.
Oh.
Not as a
Gosh,
bird.
I have so many questions too. All right, very quickly though, one question: is it a goal of yours that this is a profitable
Yes.
endeavor? That's a goal.
Absolutely.
And what's in the future? Where do you want to take it from here?
Goodness, I just want it to be the best that it can be. I just want to continue to hone it. I know there's probably a lot of little loose ends and things that I'm still working on, bringing things more into focus, and even kind of maybe narrowing my focus a little bit. And I'm not. The blogging industry is something that's constantly changing, so it's really hard for me to look at it and say, I want it to look like this, because I don't know what in 2 years this is going to look like,
Yeah.
So just really honing it and making it the best it can be.
And finally, if you had a piece or two of advice to impart to the students watching who are finishing up their first couple of months in this blogging journey, what would you tell them to stay focused on moving forward?
Consistency. I would say stay consistent even when it feels like it's doing nothing, it's doing everything. stay consistent. That's huge, and just focus it. Make sure that it focuses on something that you're passionate about and that you enjoy, because it's no fun to do all the work for this if it's for something that means nothing to you. So make it a passion.
Kristen, thank you so much for coming in
Absolutely.
and sharing your expertise and your time with us here today. We truly appreciate it. And we will wrap things up there. So thanks again for coming in. The dual
Sure.
Campbell.
And we're cutting to